What's up, y'all? This is Rom coming back at you with yet another car video. You know what? There is too much speculation on what the top men do. And what I mean by top men, that could be either in the sexual hierarchy or the social hierarchy. So whether you want to call them Chad and Tyrone, 1% man, 100 octane man, Masters of the Universe, Mr. Goodbar, whatever. And I'm talking to like the top guys, what they do and how they interact. A lot of guys be trying to tell others how they do, and I'm like, y'all speculating. What inspired this? Because I said, I don't check out everybody's video, but every now and then I come across maybe a short or something, and this guy was trying to dispute what this young lady was saying about proximity and stuff, and saying all these women don't have she was the one saying these women don't have proximity to like the top men, the top money men. And I'm like, yeah, I've said that when I was more active on my women's channel. I was telling the women that I was like, y'all can want that $100,000 a year man, but y'all not in the proximity for it. But this dude called himself disputing her, saying, using the example of some billionaire hitting up some woman on some dating site. First of all, that is rare. You can't use the exceptions for the rule. But then I realized that I was like, when is this dude around a billionaire? Because I ain't gonna give a person's name. I mean, they got like 200 subs or something, 200 subs don't show their face. They probably ain't the top, or even in that environment, And that was the thing, and that could be with the guys making money. That could be the guys actually getting to play. Like, okay, like a lot of guys use that Chad and Tyrone thing, right? But are they actually, first of all, are they Chad or Tyrone themselves? And then, if not, have they been around a number of them? Being around one doesn't count. I mean, let's just be real. Even if a person could be around one of those guys, and let's spread this to the money man, being around them, and just what one does, that's just what one does. Now, when you could say you've been around 20 at a minimum, whether they the top men sexually or some men who actually make money, you can't say what it is. You really can't. But see, a lot of guys speculate. Like, let's use the example not of the Chad and Tyrone, but of the money man. The money man. Guys making six figures. What BGS would call, he'll say like the top ballers and stuff, the 100 octanes, or you could even say 92 octanes. They still got a lot of power, and they still pulling in a lot of money. They just not as famous. I mean, we talking about those professionals and stuff. And trust me, with my background, which I always challenge people to prove me wrong, with my background and stuff, been around plenty of them. Could even like say I'm one of them, Trust me, don't go by what y'all see in this car. Y'all be surprised. But anyway, though, you get those 92s, the 100 octanes, they don't roll like the rest of the population, especially with women. First of all, a lot of them ain't even gonna be on like some dating sites or something, unless it's like top level dating sites, or going for these average women. Because let's be real, most of the women on these dating sites are not the top ones. Because see, here's the thing, when you in different groups like that, especially with the money men, those women, they're gonna be in the places they're gonna be at with these guys. They ain't going for online shit. They looking for the bistros, cigar lounges, VIP sections of like major clubs, wherever. They looking to be in the environment with these men. Because the thing is, with a money men are picky. They picky. They ain't gonna just get any old woman. Shit, they made all that money. Shoot, whether you agree with this or not, they feel entitled to the bad woman. They ain't gonna like deal with some average woman. Only way that you would even see one with an average woman is if that woman helped them get to a certain place, or they have a fetish. Shit. Because if you ain't with a baddie, shit, you get clowned. You gotta have a baddie with that crowd. When you dealing with those like top level professionals and everything, shit. You'd be surprised. Or actually, somebody in that crowd wouldn't be surprised. But they can be picky. Even if they the type to run through some women. Trust me, they gonna be like that 7 to 10 range. But a guy who ain't around, who either isn't that or been around that, wouldn't know. So you gotta understand something. Everybody think just because, something happens, they experiencing something is for everybody. No, because like I said, you got class differences. That's a major thing. You can't talk about relationships without class differences. You get some guy who, reached that Masters of the Universe point, or is the scion of a millionaire family. Shit, first of all, if they get degrees or something, most of the time they meet future wifey. They meet future wifey in school. Like those sororities at some of these schools, particularly white sororities. Oh, those are really, no matter what letters they get, their real letters are MRS. That's why they say they're going to get an MRS degree. They're going to be in it. In fact, I got a acquaintance. We follow each other on IG. That's all she deal with, because she be sharing pics. She dealing with the future men who going to be running the shit. Because they all look the same. They ain't in the same thing, and they ain't going to take the chance of hitting like a regular dating site. Now if they got some shit that's exclusive, like the only time you might see something otherwise is like those sugar daddy sites or something. And even with those sugar daddy sites, the woman gotta be bad. I mean, anything less than a 7 is not gonna work on there. So, and even then, it's still not the real proximity. You gotta be in that environment, because trust me, and don't count some idiot like Zion Williamson or some of these athletes or something like that. I'm talking about real power. That shit's just temporary. Their money level is just temporary, unless they smart, got some business sense. But the smart ones who had to work up to that level, build up to that level, they gonna be shit. They looking for a certain type of woman. They looking for a certain type of image. Because when you deal with those like more powerful types, part of their game is the woman with them. In fact, they get judged for the woman with them. They can't walk into some business meeting or some social networking event. Like when they have parties at that higher level, it's very important who you have on your arm. Because that woman, part of her job is to socialize, make you look good. Like if you got some people in that part who like thinking about doing a business deal with you, they're gonna be looking at it like, well, hold up, why would I do business with this dude and he got this tore up wife, this woman who don't know how to act like she got sense? Shoot. So that woman, she not only gotta look a certain way, she gotta be a certain thing. She gotta have a certain level of behavior and stuff. And I know people have heard, well, men don't care about their degrees and stuff. And, it ain't a major thing, but they'll keep it in mind. The powerful will keep it in mind depending on the circles they're in. Because like I said, from when you get most of them, not all of them, of course, but most of them mate from the neck up. Especially if they like the scion of upper middle class to upper class families. Shit. They constantly check it out. And you know what's funny though, because I've talked about that before and get some guys challenge it, but I would challenge them. When have you actually been around those types? And been around them, not read about them, been around them, hung out with them, actually talked with them, been among them. And if you say you have, then, in the black community, they call it Negro geography. I'm not sure what they call it in the white community, but then the conversation turns to, okay, where'd you go to school? What frat did you pledge? Or, you know, where do you work? You know, where do you live? It gets into all of that. Because seriously, but you get a lot of guys trying to speculate thinking, well, they doing the same as an ordinary guy. And that's just the money side. Understand something. Let's get to the sexual side, because people watch this channel for that part. If a man is really a top level man to the extent he has like the attitude, physical attractiveness, attitude, some level of game to get a lot of women, who he gonna go for? He ain't gonna just go for any old woman. He gonna go for the baddies. And contrary to popular belief, a lot of times they don't need to get online. Now you're gonna have some online, but you're gonna have more if they at that top level. Shit, they can just walk down the street, and even then they're gonna be picky. They're gonna be picky. If they got a choice, if you got a guy who got the real choice between some average looking woman, got the real choice between some average looking woman who might have some issues or some cooperative, very attractive woman, who you think he gonna take? They gonna stick with it, in fact. You know, they ain't gonna do things the way some other guys do. Let's be real, a lot of guys, they with a woman because they can't do any better. A particular woman, you know, putting up with some stuff on that simp shit, because quite frankly they ain't gonna do any better. But you would have to be A, among those guys, or B, in an environment where you're around a lot of those guys to really understand. And really, being around a lot of them, you're still not going to see everything. Whether it's those top guys sexually, or even the top guys money-wise, you're still not going to see shit. There's a lot of times because when people talk, when they share shit, they look for similar people. Like, you can get a guy who got money like crazy and shit. Let's put sexual attraction in there. If he's around some guys who ain't on that level, he'll just be quiet. You might not even know what he doing. He gonna keep quiet about his stuff, because he understand. You understand everybody's not going to get them. But a major problem we do have out here is you get a lot of guys trying to tell you what's up with them, trying to say, oh, this, and this. Hell, I've had to like correct some people that hit me up about some of the stuff I talk about. You know? Like, I had one young guy, I haven't heard back from him. He was talking about a select man being lonely. Right? And I'm like, I told him, I was very specific. I'm like, select men, if they select, they never lonely. You know? They never lonely. Shit. Because if they select, there's always going to be a woman trying to seduce them. I've said that before. You know? Now, they might not have a lot of men trying to be cool with them, hanging out with them and shit, but they'll get over it quickly because they got plenty of women wanting to suck their dick. There's always going to be a woman trying. Or like another thing, like a lot of times, like I had another guy say something about, you know, select men being, you know, not going for all the women. Well, honestly, he don't have to, but he ain't gonna limit his count. Trying to say, oh, they could have a low count. A low count for a select man is 15. Shit. He ain't gonna be like the 5 I did in that video. But a lot of times, like I said, people, men especially, they speculate. But then when you challenge them and say, well, okay, how do you know from personal experience? Like personal experience. They can't answer, they speculating. And as soon as I hear they can't say, well, okay, well, I was in this environment. As soon as they say that, you just know. So, but, you know, that's the thing. Because I know what I know, whether it's on that sexual hierarchy, well, doing very well on that sexual hierarchy, so I know that's personal experience. And, well, being around, well, like I said, I keep my shit low key for a reason, but let's just say I got more going on than I let on. And even then, just being around others who are at a certain place, you just really see that, you really do see that, you know, it's a different world. It's a different environment. In fact, that's why I talk about, like when I've talked about stuff about class or religion or all the other social factors that come into relationships. That's why I was like, you know, you got to take all of that in, because you could say some general stuff, but everything don't apply. It's always modified. It's always modified by the social class. It's always going to be a modification. Like, whereas a great example is with class. A lower class woman, you could probably just straight up approach her and say, hey, you want to get down? She either going to be physically attracted to you, or she's not going to be physically attracted to you. And a lot of times it go down, just it's a pure attraction thing. But as they go up in class, especially if they got degrees and stuff like that, they taking the social environment into account. Now, this ain't to say they won't get with some low class dude if they think he's attractive enough. But the issue is, will they be seen in public with him? You know, it's a big difference, because when you get those upper middle class to upper class women, they very concerned who they be in public with. They very concerned because they concerned about their image. They very concerned. In fact, I saw somebody else's video, and they addressed that, because they said, you know, these very attractive women, 7 to 10 range, they very concerned about their image. They concerned who you gonna see them with. And then if you throw that in with social media, IG and everything, very image conscious. So it's like, yeah, they might mess with you if they find you sexually attractive, but if you don't match a certain image, they ain't gonna mess with you, or at least publicly. In fact, some of them will even say, act like you don't know them if they see you. And I've seen that shit. I've seen that several times, you know. And even then, even talking about them, I know this from being around those type of women. I would say the overwhelming majority of women I dealt with as an adult were what BGS would call like in that 92 range, upper 89 octane, 92, and actually had a couple 100 octanes. And you know, it's a different vibe. It's different who they deal with. You know, it's a different thing. It's all those factors. That's why I always say you got to know who you dealing with. And okay, yeah, they're attractive, but their social class is going to influence. Their social class, subculture, religion is going to influence whether or not they deal with you. Now, sometimes I get some guys get on here and say, well, yeah, this type of guy, get them no matter what. Oh, based on what? Have you seen that and witnessed that? Because a lot of times I let shit go. You know? And if it just egregious to me, I just delete the comment. But do you know? Can you speak? If I say, okay, give me 10 instances that you've seen this, they probably couldn't. A lot of dudes speculating. That's why, and even with what I talk about, that's why I constantly say, go out and find out. That's the only way you're going to learn, because a lot of guys are getting messed up, really, because they're going on somebody else's speculation. It's like, well, go find out. You know, go deal with them. You ain't going to know. And especially you dealing with women. If you haven't dealt with that many women, the only way you're going to know is you dealt with some. Hey, one guy, he tried to say what? Ooh, gotta get something to eat. He tried to talk about what? He knew 29 women. Come on, man. 20, if you can count it, you don't know enough. If you can count them, I'm going to just put that out there. And, that's the thing. But yeah, too much speculation. And too many people listening to some speculation. I would say this just in general, regardless of who it is. And like I said, I say it even with my stuff. Go out there and find out. Go out there and experience it. Go see for yourself. I've had several people say they saw for themselves. I've thanked them. I thanked them right in the comments. I say, yeah, Rom, I went out and checked it out. Okay, you're on point. That's all I ask. Because you should anyway. Don't take anybody's word for it no matter what. Go investigate no matter what it is. It only had to do with relationships. Go find out for yourself. Seriously. And one more thing, too. One more thing. Don't try to come against something just because you personally don't feel like it. Establish why. Establish why. And then be very correct about it. Right? Be very correct about it. Be very precise. But that could get into another conversation. But anyway, that's all I got for now, y'all. I'll get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.